Okay, the Nickelodeon Nutcase is back from the gates of death. It was just a fever, and I am fully recovered. Before we get into the feature presentation, which is the review of I Still Psycho, I have a few other things to touch on. First of all, some things I missed in previous reviews. In the Blooptorious episode, where Christopher is talking to Liz Gillies, and he's asking her if she was a shampoo, what would her fragrance be? He says, "Wrong!" It immediately reminded me of the early 90s parody of on Saturday Night Live of Dana Carvey doing an impersonation of John McLaughlin on the McLaughlin Group. That is a classic skit. Look for it online. It is hilarious and is still hilarious every time you watch it. Okay. The next thing I want to touch on the iBloop 2, one very important thing I got to say that I did not mention, Miranda's bloopers. Miranda cusses! Wow! Miranda cusses! You know, I have been a Miranda fan from the get-go. But the more I learn about her off-screen life, the bigger the Miranda Cosgrove fan I become. And then, there was the I Still Psycho game. That was advertised on Nickelodeon before the premiere of I Still Psycho. It's like this. It's just another variation of Pac-Man. You have the choice of playing as Sam, Freddy, or Gibby. If you want to play as Carly, you have to enter a code. They show you how to find the code. It's pretty easy to find. Then you go through a maze which looks like a living room or has a living room theme. The ghosts are Nora and her parents. The dots you have to eat are keys for unlocking Spencer. And the big dots for making yourself invincible are pieces of birthday cake. And then once you collect all the keys, you're still not done. You have to go to the box in the middle where the ghosts come out of to unlock Spencer. Then you beat the level, move on to the next, and it's the same thing with every level. You're collecting keys and rescuing Spencer. So, disappointing for the simple reason it's Pac-Man, and nothing against Pac-Man, but how about some creativity here? Okay, on to the actual episode of I Still Psycho. Disappointing. Usually sequels are inferior to the first, but still, I had some high expectations for this one, and it wasn't as good as I expected. First off, it started with the idiot cowgirl who thought the mustache was a squirrel. Now, that's getting pretty old, I think. And then when they close saying, "Goodbye to the world except Yorba, they have no freedom." Now, did you recognize the name Yorba? In the Victorious episode of Locked Up, that's the country they traveled to. Then they continued the story of Tebow moving in with Freddy and Freddy's mother that's good. And then Spencer's girlfriend, not bad looking. That's often the highlight of an episode. Uh, this was another one that was good to look at. Uh, then the parole hearing. You know what parole hearing made me think of? Uh, I, my mother has a friend whose sister was one of the nurses murdered by this guy in Chicago in the 70s. I forget his name, but it made news. You might know who I'm talking about. He murdered a whole apartment full of like 10 nurses. And every few years, the family had to go to a parole hearing to decide whether or not he should be let out. And they always kept him in. But having to go back every few years, it never gave them closure. And eventually he finally died. Then on to the next item. Norwegian food. Yeah, I had Norwegian food in the Norway part of Epcot at Disney World. Yeah, that was pretty good. But I don't recall chiz. In fact, isn't chiz a German sausage? According to Andre on Victorious it is. Well, I talked to someone who knows German. It's not. Apparently, in real life. How did Spencer and Mrs. Benson and Tebow get from Seattle to Olympia in so quick a time? I mean, obviously, the whole setting takes place longer than just an hour. But still, it seems that they got there, the way it was set up, it seems they got there fairly quick. I don't know how long it takes to travel from Seattle to Olympia, either by driving or by monorail, or train or whatever. I know the monorails are pretty big in that part of the country. But anyway, they seem to get there very quick. And then Mrs. Benson comes to rescue fencing. Now, remember the episode in season 1 where, yeah, she reveals how to fence. She fences. So, yeah. Flashback, I remember that very good. But overall, it was not that impressive. I mean, it was good. The plot of Gibbet making the head and escaping through the chimney had no purpose in the sense that it wasn't he who ended up rescuing them. And then he was still stuck in the chimney afterwards. Why? That I was not exactly happy about. But all in all, it was a great year for Nickelodeon. Some great movies, great episodes. The iParley with Victorious, that was the highlight of it. And expect 2012 to be a great year. Although one thing I've learned from 2011, whatever you're counting on, don't count on. But I think we can count on some great episodes from Nickelodeon. Some new Victorious episodes. Some new big-time rushes. The new TV series, How to Rock. And it's going to kick off next week with the 3D iCarly. And of course, more reviews from myself, the Nickelodeon Nutcase.